Hey everyone, and welcome back to OntarioCryptids. Today being New Year's Day, I would like to say Happy New Year's to everyone out there in YouTube land. Hope you all had fun bringing in the New Year's last night. We did the countdown and then we stepped outside to watch multiple fireworks from the front porch. I also want to add that on my channel, I now have a community tab where I will be posting items from time to time. It appears since I surpassed 500 subscribers, I can now share posts, polls, and short videos with everyone via the community tab. And I would also like to say thank you Bender, G Fox, and Vixendo for the New Year wishes I received. Today I have two stories to share with you all. Both of them are recent. We will be flying from the East Coast to the West Coast for these two encounter stories. And as you know, I'm always looking for great stories to be shared on this channel. So if you have a story that you would like to share in a safe environment, then forward your encounter stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. Okay, go grab yourself a beverage and get cozy on the couch or chair and sit back and relax. Okay, so the first story takes place on December 20th of 2021. So that's right. That's like 5 days before Christmas. It takes place in the state of Virginia in Surry County. And the nearest town is Surry, Virginia. As you can see, seems to be quite a bit of farmland. But then you have this big patch of wilderness right there. So anyways, let's get to the story. On December 20th, 2021, my grandson and I were still hunting for white-tailed deer in eastern Virginia at 4:40 p.m. We heard what sounded like two wood blocks being hit together. Within seconds, we saw an animal of some sorts traveling upright, covered in smooth black fur, moving southwest to northeast very quickly. We could only see from about the animal's upper thigh upward. The head was round with no visible neck, and we could see no facial features. We saw the animal only from its left side. From the moment it first appeared until it moved out of sight was only about 3.5 seconds. In that span of time, it covered approximately 60 yards through thick brush over uneven terrain. There was a stiff breeze from the east-northeast, so I don't believe that the animal scented us or knew we were here. I have been a hunter, a trapper, camper, and woodsman for more than 50 of my 62 years. This animal was upright on two legs. It definitely was not a bear. I have seen many bears. I could not identify it at all. I have been in the woods every day since with a video camera. I have found what I believe to be stick structures and two dens, but I don't know what animal they belong to. I'm puzzled, but I'm committed to identifying this animal if I can. I and 4 friends are going out tomorrow night with some thermal imaging equipment and some super sensitive sound recorders. I have never heard any animal make the sound of wood blocks being knocked together. 5 minutes after the animal disappeared, there was a loud thud, as if a large tree limb had fallen. All right, so this second and last story takes place on December the 27th of 2021. This one takes place in Lewis County, Washington. The nearest town is Centralia, Washington. And as you can see here, this is a road crossing sighting into some very thick forested area. Bigfoot sighting December 27th at 12:30 a.m. on I-5 during a winter storm. Hello, I'm trying to find other people who may have seen the same thing I did crossing the freeway in the middle of the night and in the middle of a snowstorm last night. There were about 3 or 4 other cars on the highway at the same time that would have seen this. I've never followed Bigfoot sightings or reported one before, but this seemed like the best option to try and reach other folks. Seeing this thing really freaked me out. December 27th at 12:30 a.m. during a winter storm, I was driving home northbound to Seattle from Portland. Flights to the SeaTac were all canceled, and I managed to get a flight from San Diego to Portland and decided I would drive home because Alaska Airlines was telling me it might be 2 more days before flights were rescheduled. At 12:30 a.m., I was driving on I-5 northbound through Centralia. After I saw this thing cross the highway, I marked the location on Google Maps. But I was driving, so give or take a couple of thousand feet. It was 24 degrees outside and snowing. The roads were icy and snow-packed, and it was dark. There were no streetlights. There was a tall cement median separating the northbound lands from the southbound. I thought it looked a little taller than normal, maybe 4 feet. There was one truck about 100 yards ahead of me, nobody behind me that I can remember. And I think about 3 or 4 cars on the other side of the freeway coming southbound who all were close together and would have seen this thing like I did. On my right-hand side, east side of the freeway, was just dark forest for as far as I could see. Out my left window, west side of the freeway, I saw a bunch of tall parking lot lights in the distance and what looked like a factory or warehouse a little ways, maybe 1,000 feet from the freeway. I was hyper-focused on the road because of the dangerous conditions and freezing temperatures and driving about 40 miles per hour. I saw directly in front of me what I thought was a black shadow floating westbound across the highway from the east side towards the median. As I got closer, I was maybe 50 to 100 feet away, and I realized or assumed it was a person, and I thought to myself, what the hell are they doing? They're crossing the highway in the middle of the night, in the middle of a freezing cold winter storm, and in the middle of nowhere. I slowed down to not hit them. There were no cars stranded on the sides of the roads that I could see, and I had seen a few during my drive, only dark forest. So who were they, and where were they coming from? I thought. For a second I thought they jumped out of the truck ahead of me, but thought there's no way it's moving 40 miles per hour like me. I then noticed the way it moved. It effortlessly crossed a cement wall. It didn't even look like it jumped a wall. The whole traverse in front of me and across the median looked like it was gliding or floating with an unusual ease. The way it moved really spooked me, but I saw it in my headlights enough to see it was a large humanoid form, and it was definitely not an optical illusion or a floating debris like a trash bag full of styrofoam, which I have seen in the past. As I squared up with it, I had slowed down, and it was already on the other side of the median. I could see its silhouette with the distant parking lot lights backlighting it, and I clearly saw the shape of a large head and shoulders, and it looked like it was just walking at that point, literally just walking westbound across the other side of the freeway as about 3 or 4 cars were approaching it. I saw some brake lights and brights from those cars, and I think that some of them must have also seen this thing. I was so shook up, honestly. The way this thing moved was ghostly, and the way it cleared the medium was surreal. And the shape of its head and shoulders looked just like what you've seen from the Bigfoot imagery over the years. Exactly the same. I drove back by the site the next day on my way to Oregon during the daytime and confirmed that the cement medium is a solid 5 foot tall. Based on the head and shoulders that I saw after it crossed the medium and stood up, I'm going to guess it was about 8 feet tall. So guys, here are 2 very recent stories. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I know I did. One thing I find very interesting with the amount of stories that I've read are the similarities in how these wild man or Sasquatches, Bigfoot, how they're being described in the manner of which they walk, their gait. A lot of them tend to say that it seems like they're floating, like their strides are effortless. And when you think of the size of these wild beings, you have to wonder, how do they pull that off? How are they able to glide and make their strides seem so effortlessly, considering how big and bulky they are? Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoy these stories. Again, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. In the future, I will be using this community tab more often with polls and suggestions of what you guys may like to hear. So yeah, every once in a while, head over to the tab if you haven't received a notification, just to see what I may have posted there. So that's going to mark the end of this episode. If these stories reminded you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. Again, everyone, thank you for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit that like button on your way out and smash that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. I know I've said this a couple of times already, but Happy New Year's, everyone. And I hope to see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.